Look at all this cuteness.
Look at that.
No.
Look at this. Look at all this cuteness. All right, tell me why you're matching. What's the occasion for the matching? Why we matching? So excited.
Why y'all matching?
Y'all
Just
just decided we're gonna be cute today. Whose idea was it to match today?
It's Friday, so.
Anything cute is always Zay's idea.
You about to, you really lying? Okay. You lying. Cool.
I mean, I slick believe that. That sound like anything that has any type of coordination. These days out there.
But that's false, though.
Oh,
Super false.
put us on, Zay. Put us on.
I just fell off the wagon hard.
She's more cute than you think she is. She like all that happy stuff.
Oh,
She be like, babe, I'm wearing this. Babe, I'm wearing this. Oh my God.
spill the tea.
Let's see. Asia, like, I don't know what you're talking about.
La di da.
Oh, that echo is
Alright.
not it.
I'll take it for the team.
Ooh, that echo rough.
What are y'all eating?
That echo
I think that
rough.
shit look real good, and I don't know what y'all eating.
Y'all are chowing down right now.
It's just great.
Oh,
It's just great.
oh, I could have sworn it was like some sweet portion.
You'll chow down some great
Keep mad
stuff.
fresh.
You
Keep mad
have to tell
fresh.
I don't know who it is. But
I don't know who it is.
And
But
maybe
do you have the
stream open?
And maybe my volume
Possibly
is down.
muted.
Do we want to use your volume and not mine? Because your volume probably sounds
This
better.
is gonna be a second or two behind.
Oh, okay.
Alright.
Yeah, I'm
I don't know. That echo is. Woo, baby. Woo, child. Yer, what up, Tofu? How you doing, Tofu? We miss you, boo. You know, we gotta start with our happy time 10.
Right.
Mm.
Good job.
Tell us what made you happy this week.
Alright.
Would you like me to start? I'll start. My stimmy hit. I'm broke again, but I was happy for like 10 seconds.
Okay.
I was like, yes, I'm gonna be a little bit less broke. That's what made me happy this week. And Jax put me on, put me out, get my little run thing set up. Tofu put me on, little tidbit. Go for financial wealth in my ear pocket.
Financial wealth, my ear pocket.
The echo, please.
The echo, please. Oh, it can't be me this time. I turned everything weird.
I don't know.
It ain't us. I just
It
muted.
ain't me.
It ain't us. I just muted.
It's never. I only have one. It's here. He look at Kochiki like Amina. Yeah. When y'all muted, it is you. When you're muted, there's no echo. So it is y'all. It's something on whatever's on your end. The echo is on your end. Because now that y'all are muted, there's no echo.
Who's in?
There's no echo when Kuchiki is muted. So it's on Kuchiki's end. It's something on their end that is echoing. Because now that they're muted, there's no echo. I don't know. Is something playing? I don't know. But somebody else go. What made y'all happy this week? You can't say Stimmy. I stole it. That's why I went first. Yoink. Who's going? Killer Tofu. Tell us what made you happy this week. Let's talk about it. What made you happy this week? Why does everybody look confused with the? It's like what is happiness? What made us happy? Yes. But I already said Stimmy, so you got to give us something else. I already used Stimmy as my happiness. That's why I had to pepper something else in. So we're all gonna say stimmy. So we gotta add something else if you say stimmy. Stimmy and you gotta do a twofer. Yes. Okay. Stimmy and a mic. I'll take it. Tell us what kind of mic you got. I saw Zay go use them.
Y'all need it.
They threw hella shade. Eat snack. Wow, side eye. Assure MB7. Put some pics up in the Discord. Put it under the text channel so we can see. Zajax, one of y'all want to go? Tell us what made you happy this week. If you're gonna use STEM, you gotta do a twofer. You gotta tell us 2 things that made you happy.
About to eat tacos.
Yes, what kind of tacos?
Fish.
Ooh, fried or?
Again, the other way.
I have seen somebody do another type of fish taco, and it wasn't bad. It was actually you like alright, but it didn't slap like how I like my like that crispy fry, but I wasn't mad at it.
Right.
Alright, Jax, what made you happy this week?
My computer bounced back from exploding.
Okay,
So-
Big Sean.
Wait,
That's
did
what
it
it had to
actually explode or did it bounce back before it could explode?
It exploded, and I was
I
freaking
see
out.
Amina got some shade of her own.
And then it came back, and I went to bed, and I was like, Jesus, I'm never shutting this shit down ever again. And I didn't turn off my computer for like 3 days straight.
Are we talking like sparks and
Like,
smoke?
okay, so talk about like computer exploded, like it stopped working.
Okay.
Because me and I are just like a whole other version of explosion.
No,
Oh,
Skynet going.
And this is a 2-for-1. There was some sound coming from our fucking ceiling.
Amen.
And the fucking maintenance man came last week and was like, oh, they're doing construction upstairs. I'm like, motherfucker, you lying, because it's Sunday and ain't nobody upstairs. And now it's Monday and it's happening again. He came back all exasperated, talking about it's still happening. Yes, motherfucker. They opened it. There was some random metal just sitting up in the fucking ceiling next to the fucking ventilation system.
Mad
and they just took it out. Oh, this was it. But the
At
sound
least
is
it
gone.
wasn't a person.
At least
I don't give a fuck what it was. It had to
You hear
go.
that? Like say a whole human just. I don't know what would be worse, a human or a rodent in the ceiling.
Definitely a human.
A human.
Without a doubt.
I think she went Snow White.
A human. A human.
Ethically.
A human.
I mean, like,
That's the like I'm moving. What do you think?
they like, no matter what. Wait, you had a squirrel in your ceiling and it just died?
No.
Did you know that it died before or after the smell? I have questions. Clearly, from the sign, we have questions. Was it? I just Tofu, tell us in chat. Ooh, damn! She found out after the smell. Damn, Tofu.
It's not typically how people.
sucks.
Oh, yeah, basically though, yeah.
Unless it's like a fucking raccoon, you can hear
No,
that
because
shit.
don't you hear the little feet? You little
Not the
feet
feet.
scratching? I don't know.
You're
If
not
you're
doing
there.
rapes again. You've already survived. Bye.
I'm sorry? No. Kalba, Kuchiki, either one of you want to
I'll go.
go ahead. Did she just raise her hand? I'm gonna do you like I do a Zoom class. Wait, let me unmute you, baby. Hold on. Nah.
I hate you. I was gonna say the stemmies, but I'm happy we started walking again. My legs quivered a couple of times, and I stopped feeling my feet and my toes on a couple of cases. But it's good to be out getting fresh air and, building that stamina up slowly but surely, making sure not to push too fast. I'm trying to graduate up to the elliptical. So we're doing hills and avoiding dog shit in the process, because literally the streets is paved with dog shit. It's paved. So
I meant she started with the leg quiver. But yes, I concur. The walks are giving me life. And I'm very proud of you, because you've been taking some of the blocks, like you've been jogging them. So you've been out here doing it. Been out here like jogging. So I'm very proud of you.
My sheets don't like it, but
Also, shout out to you for not going off on who'd you give your laptop to? Best Buy.
Oh,
I'm very proud of you.
That's gross.
I'm very
I don't know why you.
Well, they lost her laptop. They don't know where it's at, and she didn't go off. Like, she did not violate. Hey, thank you for the thick ass of love, Avada. What's up? We are currently sharing our Happy Time 10. So tell us something that made you happy this week. Drop it in the chat for us. Very, very proud of you, Amina.
Very proud of you,
Amina. When they told you to lose your laptop.
People watching will think I'm a criminal.
Not that you're a criminal, but somebody tells you, hey, I know you gave us your laptop. And I know we charged you for it, but we lost it.
Good job, Best Buy. You had one job.
Oh, do they replace the shit they
Also, the echo's back.
They said, and I quote, "We have to wait until it actually gets somewhere before we can tell you where it is, before we can go to the next step." The way she did that sounded like, I have a question. Yes, we have questions.
Oh my God.
Whatever.
God bless you, because
And Zay is just like, I'm a mom business. Like, don't
Zay
sound
needs
right,
gratis. Avada said I done went full Karen. Excuse me, I need to speak to all the managers. Get the manager of the manager. Would you have the bob with the platinum color? Like, and that's why I was like, I'm proud that you grow. Kuchiki, you want to tell us your happy time? What made you happy this week, baby?
Well, it's not the stimmy, because the government still ain't giving my stimmy, but in spite of that, excuse me, I'm very happy and blessed because of you ladies and this thorough gun that you gave, because I have finally discovered the proper amount of soaking that I need to do, and I'm gonna just leave it at that. We're not gonna go further, but I'm very blessed. Because of that thorough gun. That's it.
Come on, Theragun! Yeah! But yeah, no stimmy. Rip to that. I mean, you ain't missing out, because we technically ain't get no stimmy. They took like 30% of our checks and was like, here's 2%. Here's 2% back. You're welcome. And then the debt we owed was like, yeah, give me that. Run that.
I was rich for like 5 minutes.
Ooh, yeah, massage guns, tofu are everything. All right, so now that we've lived 10 minutes in bliss, guys, are we ready to dip our toe into some trauma?
Let's go. Okay.
Zay let's talk about it. Zay got her let's talk about it. All right, so we've all heard that saying, blood is thicker than water. I don't know why I made that face.
Blood is bigger than water.
I certainly heard it.
But
But people say that to me all the time. Like, whenever I get into it with a family member, they always be like, but that's your family. So they can be wild disrespectful because we related? What?
Hold, please.
So,
saying,
please tell us, enlighten us, educate us.
I actually posted about this 4 days ago because I was talking about my own family. But,
should I share your post? Can I can go to your, I don't want to blast you on your Facebook, but damn, I wish I would have
known. Don't blast my Facebook, but give me a second.
No,
I'm coming.
Damn, I wish I'd have known because I would have put that on the whole page.
So 4 days ago, I said so many people really take that blood is thicker than water to a really toxic place. Like the quote really isn't, the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. Meaning, relationships formed from battle, adversity, and standing together as one are stronger than just being biologically related. That is all. Thank you for coming to my
drop it.
Okay.
Mic drop, bitch. Snapchat.
I need a thing to drop. Let me. Can you see that? Can you see? I dropped it. Oh, shit. I gotta pick it up though. I gotta pick it up. All right. So.
Her name is Beck. She is an author. Check her out on Amazon. I'm just saying.
So let's talk about it. Because when I am always told blood thicker than water, it's always in reference of that's your family member, so you have to forgive them because they're related. Why? If you did something wild disrespectful to me, fuck you. That's how I feel, straight like that. Because if you did something disrespectful, that's what you said to me. I don't understand why I am expected to be the bigger person. Is it because I am more forgiving, more understanding, more educated? I'm supposed to understand better than my younger family member? Because I was about to blast the person that I'm thinking of right now. Younger family member. Because I know more, I'm more experienced. I have to... Why? This person is over the age of 21. You know what you're doing. Why do I have to be the forgiving individual? But that's family. They don't have the same family ties that I'm supposed to have. Thank you. I felt that eye roll. So like, why? Who decided that blood is thicker than water? Like, who did somebody actually get blood and get some water and science this and be like, oh yes, unagi, salmon skin roll. Your family blood is thicker.
It's really friendship and adversity that's thicker.
Avada says, oh no, my mom is literally a Karen. Literally, that's her name. She gave birth to me, but that doesn't mean I gotta like her. I mean, the family you're born into ain't the family you chose. So technically, wouldn't I be closer to the family I selected? Like, I would argue I'm closer to I chose y'all. Like, oh, this one, I like that one. I like that one. I like that one. These ones is my family. These ones is my siblings, right? Like, so who? Because my father is famous for saying they don't have your last name. Fam, if I get married, I won't have my last name. Like, Zaya's like she being real ignorant right now, but like. I'm saying I could go down to the courthouse right now and like change a couple things, you know? I'll never forget that episode of Friends when Phoebe went to get married and all she was supposed to do was change her last name and she became Princess Banana Hammock or something. Like like it what's in the name? Like it boggles the mind. Where do we get this notion that family means doormat?
Right.
Like, where we drawing these lines? Please, somebody help me out. Explain it to me. Where does this come from?
I think it's partly, at least it felt like for me when it was happening to me, that it partly came from this idea that we're willing to take on a lot more. Like at some point we'll just sweep it under the rug and keep going. There's this assumption that we just like don't have time to hold the grudges. So why not put it with the person who seems to have an endless, no limits Like, she'll always come back if you say I'm sorry, or she'll always come back if you kind of just bully her into a thing or pressure her into a thing. It'll all go back to normal. So I think they sniffed that out at birth and decided, okay, that's what we're gonna ask.
This infant smells like a doormat. Avada says, my mom is the one that contradicts herself constantly, loves to shove religion and politics down your throat. And if you disagree with her, you're in the wrong, no matter what. Oof. Sounds bad. Nah, I can't do it. Tofu says, Princess Consuela Banana Hammock. Thank you. I know I was missing that part of the name. Avada says, hasn't talked to mom in years. Yeah, for some people, that's really hard to do, though, right? Cut off a family member, because the moment you try to, like, distance yourself, they're like, but that's your family. You only have one mom. You only have one dad. You only have one insert family title here. So, like, at that point, when you were told, I only have one blank, how much leeway am I supposed to extend to you when you wildin'? Like, when I am telling you, hey, you are doing a disrespectful thing to me, am I supposed to extend you some extra courtesy because you family? Like, how's that go? Like, how's that go?
It's just dumb.
Just dumb. Because I felt like they say you only get one mom, or you only get one. They say you only get one. I hear that it's like you only get one.
Echo. Wait, hold up. Kuchiki, mute for 1 second so they can finish. Go ahead.
I just say you only get one of everybody. So I feel like that doesn't apply. I feel like people feel comfortable saying that because they have the mindset that their kids are fucking expendable or whatever. Like, oh, I got 5 kids, so I could treat all 4 like shit, and then one will still be there for me. Oh, sorry, guest starring my dog that just jumped into Asia's lap here. Sorry about that. Okay. Yeah. It's just levels to this, and I feel like, family is important, but if they're not reciprocating the energy you feel about them, then it's fully okay to cut ties. It's fully okay to be like, all right, enough is enough. You want to bring it back over?
I feel that. Avada says it's so bad that none of her kids want anything to do with her. Avada is speaking in regards to her mom. Wow. Oh well, don't need that kind of toxic shit in my life from her. Tofu says, I put up with 30 years of abuse from my mom because of the rest of my family guilting me into you only get one mother. Damn, I understand. Tofu says, I was young and severely traumatized, so I didn't know that I deserved better. Yeah, I think that's where it starts. They do that shit to you when you're young. They do it to you when you're young, and you have like this whole, I'm a kid, you're authority, so I kind of like, I believe they try to indoctrinate you. They kind of like try to make you feel like I am the adult and I know better, and I am telling you this is the way. And so you feel, as Tofu said, guilted. And it's not until you get older that, like, as Avada said, you realize, oh no, this is hella toxic. No, this is not it. This is not it for me. And then you kind of realize that the onus is on you to break ties and do what is best for you. I still, to this day, my mom will be like, you gotta work it out with your dad because that's your dad. If my dad says something crazy to me and I dislike it, I'm gonna tell my dad, hey dad, you wildin'. Like, I'm an adult. Like, at what point do I get viewed as the adult and no longer the 12-year-old kid? Go ahead, Amina.
Question. So, do we think that it might be possible that because these adults have normalized the toxic environment that they're living in? Because we talk about the toxicness of certain relationships, but it feels like it's only been in like the past maybe 15, 20 years that we've acknowledged that toxic behavior or toxic environment can exist within the most sacred relationships like child and parent. we only just recently started to be like, yeah, that's a thing. Could it be possible that the adults in our life, they're so used to that toxicity as normal that they don't understand what we're trying to prevent from happening? Like, we're trying to save our mental sanity, and they don't see where that's insanity because that's their normal. Does that make sense? Do we think that that's why they're so eager to? Because I can't imagine that if a parent had normalized when they were a child being forced to interact with family members that they didn't like, if they had internalized that as the actual toxic behavior that it was, I can't imagine that they would willingly put us through the same thing. I think part of it is that they don't recognize that that's toxic or was toxic to them when they were kids. They just see it as a fact of life. I wonder if that's what's driving them. Because I think that was always what I had a problem with reconciling, is that, like, you're my parent. Why would you put me through this? Why can't you see that this is toxic behavior? Like, I'm telling you it's toxic. I'm listing down the ways in which it's toxic, but you don't seem to see that.
I agree with that, definitely. And I think in other cases too, you have parents who have the mindset of, well, I experienced it when I was young and I just let it go. So I expect my kids to do the same thing as well. And I think I can't speak to like every
should have named me Elsa then.
I can't speak to every type of culture, but certainly, you know, if you come from a brown or black culture in America, mental health and figuring out if your family is toxic back then, it just wasn't a top priority because you still had the basic survival needs to worry about. You still had to worry about keeping your family close and making sure that everybody understands that there are certain rules that we have to abide by, because there are people out there actively want to see you burn or die if you try to break off. And I think, you know, I could imagine that extends possibly even beyond, you know, for those of us that have slavery ties to our ancestry, like it extends even beyond then. You know, this idea that like no matter what, the family has to stick together because that's how we survived has been a thing for like generations on end. And it's only now that we've come far enough where we can literally examine ourselves and our minds and say, hey, wait a minute, this wasn't cool when this happened 10, 15 years ago. And wait a minute, your mindset still hasn't changed. It's, you know, like Amina said, it's really only been within the last few decades that we can really start to look at that and go, hey, I want to break these generational patterns because I'm not with this shit.
Exactly. Tofu as I was also financially abused by her mom and guilted with her health. Not the health issues, damn. And she says the adults in our lives have severe Stockholm syndrome and they completely accept and side with the trauma they were put through and never had time to sit and pick apart their emotions. They fought for material things for us, so we have more time to sit and realize how we were being traumatized. That is heavy. That is really heavy.
Very good point.
I specifically remember having a conversation with my dad, like, do you ever like look at the way that you were raised and look at the way that you raised me and feel like there were things in your upbringing that you were like, I won't do that, and then you did it, and then he was like, yeah, but it was all I knew, and that was his response. It was all I knew. And I'm like, you didn't want to like do better? They was like, no, like, I'ma do better, I'ma be different. You don't want to break these chains. Like, no, you were just gonna, all right, well, that's why I won't be having kids, father. but for him, like, that was very much like, I don't know any different. And I remember having a conversation with Amina where I was like, you are very different from what I have seen to be your parents. How? We'd be at 2:00 in the morning, like, how did, because 2 + 2 is supposed to be 4, but I got 5, so how? And Amina straight was like, I knew what I didn't want to be, and so I was that. I was the opposite because I didn't want to be that. And so you got these two different examples of I saw what I didn't want to be, but I didn't know what I could be, so I just copied it, and then I saw what I didn't want to be, and I didn't want to be that, so I was just, let me be the opposite. And I wonder if that's what our family, parents, is that what they're doing? They're just like, I don't know. I mean, like, are we lucky because we got Google?
A little bit. We have a little bit of a globalization that a lot of other people didn't have. Like, and it's not even talking about how I can talk to someone in Russia right now. I'm talking about how easily I can get in touch with my friends to like bounce ideas off of in the moment. Whereas back in their day, they might have had to go across the street. They might have had to put on some clothes and go outside because ain't nobody got a phone, or only had the landline phone, and mom was on the phone, and you like. So the way in which I like 4 people up at once and see them face to like on camera and be like, hey, so this thing just happened to me 2 seconds ago, blah 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 blah. Like there's an accessibility that they didn't have. So a lot of times there'll be things I'll do, and if I don't get to someone in 4 seconds, I might doubt myself and not do the thing at all. But because I can get to y'all in 4 seconds, now I'm trying shit that I might have talked myself out of.
Interesting. Didn't even think about the accessibility to like our own brand of therapy. Because I ain't gonna lie, everyone should have someone to talk to. I'm not gonna call it therapy, but everyone should have some form of outlet. Like we all need a way to express ourselves. Echo. Push the mute button. So I think, Amina, you hit the nail on the head when you were like, we have a little bit more access. Cause like we straight amongst the 5 of us got a whole group chat where we be live. Moment we see something, we right in the group chat like, yo, you saw this? Yo, you saw this? Kiki and that. Like our parents didn't have that. So when they're going through something, it's like grasping at. So when they're like, oh, we have a problem, don't matter, tough it up. Can't turn your back on family. But we like, bump that. That's toxic as hell. Cancer culture. Deuces. Won't disrespect me. But I also feel like we might be a little too quick to cancel. Because I'll be quick to cut somebody. I'm so quick to cut somebody off. I'll be ready to cut off students. I gotta remember I'm the teacher. I get beside myself sometimes. I gotta remember my role. But I think you have a point there where there's a balance. Ajax, you've been mighty quiet. You wanna share with the class what you're thinking? Did we hit a nerve?
I'm probably like the only one of us that genuinely rolls with the blood is thicker than water.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's to a fault.
I think that might be my clip for that hard eye roll right there. That's my new eye roll clip. Go ahead.
Listen, it is what it is. But it's not like to my whole family. It's literally to my brother, my sister, and my mother. Like, not saying that I wouldn't ride for my grandmother. I wouldn't ride for anybody else in my family. But those 3, no one. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Are there any lines? Go ahead. Are there any lines? Go ahead.
Is there anything where it's like, okay, you crossed the line, I can't mess with you anymore. I can't fuck with you.
No.
Is there anything that would
No. There is nothing. No.
Oh, hi now.
Yeah, there is. And it's happened with another family member, but I'm talking about like my immediate family member, like, no. And I have in total 6 siblings, but those 2 and my mom, now granted, now that I'm older, I do check my mom when she be wilding out. But like, is it like to the point where I'm cutting you off? No. Yeah, no. Don't shift your face.
I ain't saying nothing.
But yeah, no. Mm-mm. The only, like, let's see, it's bad because, like, I just started realizing that my sister is, like, the black sheep. Because I'm like, my mom took care of us. As a single parent, like, she did what she had to do. So to me, I'm like, you get everything that you ask for. It's not instantaneous. But then like as I got older, I started realizing like there were certain things that wasn't monetary that my sister wanted and needed that my mom wasn't there for. But like for me, anything that happened, she would show up at a drop of a hat. Like she could be in the middle of work and she'd be like, well, fuck this, I'm getting up, I'm leaving work. But like my siblings, she wasn't always like that with them. So like as my sister would be like, nah, I can't F with mommy, da da da. And I'm like, but that's your mother. Like,
let me stop you right there. Asia is her mother's favorite. So she can speak of this easily and breezily because she is her mother's favorite. So that I just want to put that out there. It's easy to say stuff like that when you are the favorite.
Again, like I was saying, I didn't realize until we got older that I was like until my sister got to college, actually, like her second year in college, and I was like, nah, mommy be wildin'. Like this is not right. So like I really had to like start having conversation with my mom. Like, and granted, a lot of people's parents aren't really open to listening and then making changes. Like they'll listen to you and they'll be like, yeah, I feel you, that makes sense, and then do the same shit, and you're like, there's no point in me trying to communicate with you. Granted, it took my mom a while, like until my sister graduated college, for her to start seeing that, you know, she has to be more supportive and that she has to learn to apologize. Like that's a big thing with parents. Like they're like, I'm your parent, I don't give a fuck. And granted, it's again from the generation prior. Like no matter what, we have to apologize to my grandmother. Like if she's mad at us and she was in the wrong and we didn't do anything wrong, we have to apologize even though she was mad. Like we didn't make her mad, but she's mad because we're not agreeing. Like don't matter how old you are, you have to apologize first. Now my mother, when she does shit, she'll apologize like, you know what, I was upset, I shouldn't have said this, da da da. Prime example today, like something happened and she was mad at me, like I had control over it. And I'm like, all right, whatever. I called her and she was like, you know what, I'm sorry for the energies that I shared with you. But like her and my sister are like starting to get back on good terms. And it's just really good that she's starting to open up. But like really, I was like blind. I was like, no, I don't know what you see. Mommy's great, you're bugging out. She helped you get to college. She's paying for all this. She took out all these loans. But like my sister is a dance major. So like once a year, you had to go upstate to see her perform. Now granted, you can go to Atlantic City for $30. To take a bus upstate was $90. I don't get it. But like I went to every single showcase and my mom only came to one. And I'm like, you make more than me. I'm confused. Why are you not here? You going on trips, you taking cruises, but you can't spend $90 to come support your daughter for 2 hours and then go back downstate. I don't get it. So, yeah. Yep.
So you finally realized the truth a little bit about how your mom's relationship with her other kids could be different from yours by seeing evidence of it. Once you saw like evidence, did it like change your perspective about her in particular, or did it just make you more understanding about your siblings' resentment of them?
It made me more understanding of my siblings, but at the end of the day, my mom is still at like.
You still see her in that light. You're just aware that not everybody else will.
Yeah, but it's mostly my sister. That's the like it's really insane because she be showing up for my brother too. Like she flew out of the state. Why am I
like pause at all? That doesn't make you pause at all.
That's when I like realized, but to me, like it's still my mom. Like,
got you. Got you. I mean, I feel that because it's almost like the brain wants to protect you from realizing that the person you adore is fundamentally or ethically wrong sometimes in a way. It's almost like with my father, I finally did see that where he himself as a person was messed up, but it took a very long time because I'm a daddy's girl. I was raised with dad taking me rollerblading. Anytime I wanted to do a sport, he was the first person to go into a Dick and Goody sports thing and buy everything I needed for that sport. He got me into movies. He made sure I watched black sitcoms. he's part of why I have the African pride that I do. So when he started acting funny after he got remarried and had the other children, doing things that I felt like morally, this is not something the father that raised me would do, I kind of accepted, okay, well, maybe everybody else might seem a little differently, but he's still at this pedestal. And it wasn't until inevitably his bad behaviors got directed directly at me. Like, it wasn't someone else I was observing. Once it started to happen to me in some way, shape, or form, then that's what forced me to be like, okay, it's not just people have different relationships with my father. Something, not necessarily wrong with my father, but something isn't perfect with my father, if that made sense. And I started to, it was hard at first, but now I can openly say, yeah, my dad's a chauvinistic person. He's racist, and he's hypocritical a lot of the time. I couldn't say that like 3 years ago. You couldn't get me to say that.
Jax, do you think there'll ever come a point in time where you'll be able to be... I'm not laughing at you, Jax. I want that to be clear. I am laughing at Zay's expressions because they are very much answering my questions before I am finishing them. But Jax, do you think you'll ever be able to be...
I can't because my mom isn't a bad mom. Like, she made mistakes, granted. Like, the way she handled things between me and my sister, like, me and my sister experienced the same things. It's like night and day. And I'm like, man, like, now as I'm older, I'm like, man, that's effed up. At the time, I was still like, you bugged out for no reason, but I was a teenager. So a teenager telling your parent, yo, you wilding out is like, who the fuck you talking to? But as an adult, I'm like, oh, like, let's look back. And granted, she's even admitted it. Like, you know what? That really was crazy. I didn't have to come out like that, but I didn't know how to react at that moment. I'm like, yeah, but you, like, saying I'm sorry now is good, but then that was the time when it needed to be heard. So yeah. Like,
but that's what like, I was about to...
I can't, like, my mom isn't a bad mom. Like,
well, that's what I wasn't gonna ask you. Do you think you can, like, analyze her ability to parent? But, like, could you ever separate the two, the person from the role? Like, you, like, I am not my job. I'm a whole human being. I'm not just that. I am multifaceted. I am a multi-dimensional individual. So, would you ever be able to critique her as a multifaceted... Zay! I'm gonna need you to fix your face.
See, Zay's making his face because my mom... It's still gonna be wrong, but I'm gonna say it. Like, our family makes jokes or make light about almost everything in life. We literally can't take shit seriously. So, like, my mom will say, like, certain jokes or things that are racist or slightly homophobic, and it makes Zay feel uncomfortable. Like, I know my mom isn't a homophobe. I know she's not racist.
Right there. Let me stop you right there.
Can I finish? And then you can talk.
Go ahead.
Like, I know there's no malice behind it. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter about what you know is behind it. It's about how someone else feels. So, like, at the time, like, I would laugh and I'd be like, oh, like, stop being a stick in the mud. Like, she's just joking. But to Zay, she's uncomfortable about it. So it took years, again, until I was like, you know what? You can't say that, Ma. You got to be more sensitive about the people that surround you. But again, like, we literally don't take life that seriously. So
okay. Asia's mother is a wonderful woman. Literally one of the best people I've ever met. But there are certain things, and Asia makes it hard for me to, like she said, like, Asia, like, at the time, it's like, oh, you're being too sensitive. So, like, she couldn't even, because she sees her mother as such a wonderful woman, and she is, but there's a difference between being wonderful and without flaw. Asia cannot see her mother's flaws easily. So when I would say something like, she's really a little bit wilding right now, oh, playing around, it's not, you're being too sensitive, calm down. And I'm just like, so you gonna just let her violate while I'm sitting here? Cool. So it's just like, certain things is like, I don't think Asia can do this because of her love for her mother, but I feel like she can't see that there are certain things that she will never really experience. Because again, I'm very close to her sister and her brother too. So I was able to see things from their lens, and I'm trying to explain to her because they will go back and forth arguing, and she's always in defense of her mom, like, y'all being mad, ungrateful, and I'm like, bro, but they're like, she's violating them, like, you have to. So it's like, again, we are literally on opposite ends of the spectrum when it comes to our family. She is the favorite and I am the black sheep, so it's hard for me to even hear her, like, she reveres her mother like blindly. It's actually really scary. It's like, I feel like she could shoot up a school and be like, well, them kids should like, that's what it is. And I'm like, fam, like, you're really wilding, like, you know. So that's why I gave her those looks, because I'm like, if you're gonna be on this podcast with this particular show, you have to be honest about your blind spots. You have to you have to tell the truth, because she's gonna be like, you know, my mom did the best she can. My mom did all this great stuff. And she did. Her mom has literally saved my life personally. So her mother is a beautiful woman. But she has these things that happen. And Asia's just like, what? That didn't happen. We could all be sitting in the same room, experiencing the same thing. Nah, that didn't happen like that. You get how she really said that? And I'm like, fam, like... you know, so that's why I was giving those looks. That's where, because I'm like, the transparency is important, because it's important. Like, the people who experience the trauma, like the people who aren't necessarily their parents' favorites, have stories to tell, like, oh, my mother violated and did this and did that, but nobody ever hears it from the side of the one who is the most adored. So that's why me looking at Asia is me like mentally telling her to be accountable here, because you didn't get the rough part of that life. You didn't get any of that. So you have to like acknowledge that that's a big blind spot for you. So
that's what I said.
I'm just
I know you don't be listening.
Because
I led with that.
I'm just saying.
Just to like steer it a little bit somewhere else. So we've talked about how dealing with relatives that we felt were toxic directly or were toxic to other people. But what about that family member that loved to play mediator? Trying to the two people. So like when you have a situation where there's one family member and you both are like, nah, fuck her or fuck him or whatever, and then you got the one family member that feels the need or it's their life's goal to get y'all to the talk, to the point that they're willing to risk their own personal relationship with you, fighting with you all the time, bringing up the subject of reconciliation with this other person all the time. And you're like, yo, you keep talking to me about this thing I don't want to talk about. We gonna have a problem. What about that family member? Does that fall into that toxic behavior?
Yo, for me, I'm sorry. I got you, Maddie, but I gotta say my favorite eye roll gif was the Kiki Wyatt one. You know, that classic, iconic double eye roll goes into your soul. But I'm about to switch it up and use theirs. But to go on to what you said, Amina, I just had that happen to me. I do not speak to a specific family member, and my father knows that my favorite person in the world is my older brother. Like, I got a bunch of people that I love, like favorite people, hands down, love them dearly. But he knows that my older brother is like the golden child, right? Love that guy. And my father really tried to pull the, can you forgive the person that you don't talk to anymore for your brother? And I'm like, well, number one, if my brother needed me to talk to this person, why wouldn't my brother just ask me to talk to this person himself? Number two, what the hell does my talking to this person or not have to do with my brother at all? So, me being the logical person that I am, I went to my brother and I'm like, does it matter to you? Like, is this one of your, hey, sis, if you love me at all, please go talk to this person? My brother was like, no. If I needed to pull that card, I would have, one, went to you directly. But two, I'm not going to use that trump card for that. I'm not pulling that one IOU. I'm not using it for that. No, because if I ever need it, I'm not for that. That's not worth it. If you don't talk to that person, you don't talk to that person. Just don't cause a scene. We straight. And I'm like, cool, because my you don't exist in me game is strong. But what bothered me about the situation was, out of the two of us, my father was like, I'm coming to you first so you can extend. Why am I extending the hand? Why am I being the one that has to, hey, let's kumbaya? Why is that my responsibility? Because the other one's ignorant? That's not my job. It's not, because you know better. So, that other person is older than me. Shouldn't they know better? Why is it my job? If you know better, do better. Okay, Maya Angelou. You miss me with that. Go right over my little unicorn horn, please. Because it's not my job to fix something I didn't even break. If I broke it, I'm going to come to you as a grown-ass woman and try to fix it if that is a relationship I care to mend. But if I didn't even break it, I am not going to bend over backwards to try to repair it. And the fact that he had the sheer audacity to be like, but that's family. So I family for me is losing value when you use it as ammunition to force me to share a bond with somebody that doesn't put in effort to share a bond with me. That phone work two ways, baby. Like, just like I'm an adult and I could call and text you, and you older, you could call and text too. That's like when you force kids to be like, oh, go kiss your. Don't force that on kids. You gotta form those bonds. Those bonds should be organic. They can't be forced. So telling me that that's family doesn't mean anything to me just because we born in the same family tree. I don't know you like you don't know me. That has to be nurtured. You can't tell me what my favorite color is, then I don't know you. Because if you don't know what my favorite color is, you literally don't know me. Because I'll wear that on my silk. I'll wear that on my silk. I'll wear that on.
They're in the neighborhood with family too. So, family ain't always all it's cracked up to be. That's all I'm saying about that.
Yeah, like.
And as far as the mediator thing, that, you know, I mean, my older brother likes to insert himself between, you know, the comings of my family, and I just get annoyed. One, because he has the privilege of mediating from a safe distance, so it's really funny. Like, you don't even live where we at, but you come and you like, oh, but y'all should all be cool and it shouldn't be. I'm like, bro, don't you not live in the state anymore? Like, you're not even a part of this. Like, you're really like, he just does the most, and he has a very like diluted, and I feel like a lot of the mediator roles have this mindset, the diluted, like, oh, but think about the good times and think about the good things, you know, like, okay, but what you remember, you don't remember how that ended? Like, you don't remember what happened the rest of that day? I feel like the mediator role is always like to shine the light on the sparkly parts of your life, but it's like, bro, after that happened, I got violated. You wasn't there. You don't know. So it's just, I don't know. I feel like, I mean, the mediator part is just, it's just unnecessary, and I feel like a little bit hypocritical, because it's like, but then when you're mad, you want people to give you the time you need and the space you need to cool off, and not to press you about what, you know, oh, talk to this person or communicate with this person. But once I'm mad or whatever, it's, oh, y'all gotta make up. Like, whose man's is this? No, we're not about to do that. Like, so, you know.
I feel that 1,000%.
With the mediator part, it kind of goes like you said, where, you know, it's trying to shine lights on the sparkly parts. But I also feel like sometimes mediators themselves are very narcissistic. They want to mediate because they feel like the two people that are fighting are connected to them. So for my sake, because I'm here now, all of a sudden we're going to turn into glue that just magically puts together because the king is here and all shall be well in his land. And it's just like, wait a minute. our beef, number one, ain't got shit to do with you. We may be here knowing each other because of you, but she was a shitty ass person regardless of you. And I don't react to shitty ass people very well regardless of you. So this is like a A-B, you know, because with my father, I don't talk to my aunt, period. Because she was disrespectful. We were in an argument about my belief in the system of marriage. And she thought she could throw my father in there and be like, well, what does he think about it? And it was this argument about me not going to church. And I was like, my dad doesn't go to church either. And she was like, well, that's why he's sick, because he's diabetic.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Nah. I want
Right?
That into my grandpa.
OD.
And it took everything not to beat the shit out of my aunt. It took a lot. And from then on, I said, I have no words for her. And my father would always be like, oh, but that's family. You got to show your respect. And I was like, my respect is not putting my fist in her face.
Period.
That's my respect.
Period.
And so he would get angry to the point we would go back and forth. And he's like, no, but you guys are here because of me. And this is happening under my nose. I got to fix. And I was like, listen to yourself. This whole argument about why I should do a thing is all about you. You want me to do a thing because it happened under your nose. You want me to do a thing because it makes you look bad. You want me to do a thing because we're connected through you. I don't see you doing any of this emotional labor though. So stop putting in orders.
Fact.
In like, get out. And so
draw that line in the sand. Don't cross it.
You have this toxic relationship with your family member, and it kind of spreads like a cancer through the other ones who feel like, oh, she's not directly fighting with me, so I can interject as much as possible, sometimes crossing boundaries. And now I find myself, and then it sucks because when they all get on that side, they're like, see, you're not getting along with anybody. You're the common denominator. And I'm like, no, the toxic behavior is the common denominator. I'm just calling y'all out on it.
I felt fully.
Y'all are the cancer, and I cut the shit out. Oh, well, I could go without a liver. Like,
I have questions.
Science. It'll regenerate, okay?
I don't know that it will. I don't think it will, Wolverine.
A heart and have a machine instead. I can live without a liver.
I don't think that's how that works.
Cut out people that have proven, like, listen, I understand what hurts is when they understand where your problem is and they're still like, but could you just
yeah, that's the gut punch.
Don't disrespect it by still asking me to undermine my pain, because that's just more insulting. It's one thing if you didn't understand my pain, so you don't understand the gravity of what you're asking. But when you tell me you understand and you still got the cojones to ask me to undermine that pain,
Spanish.
That's like, oh, you're hurt. I understand. So what? That's what that tells me. In which case, I respond with a healthy dose of fuck you.
Not a healthy dose.
Healthy dose.
Hamburger help the fuck you. No, it's like when that whole situation when Nicki Minaj and her brother came out, and he was like accused of doing those things that we're not going to mention because we're streaming. And I was like, I personally was like, how do you support? Like, how do you support that? And I can't remember who I was talking to, but their response was, oh, because that's her brother. Like, how could she not support him? And I'm like, pardon? Pardon-moi? Excuse me? So because y'all related, we support criminals because we related to them? What? So there's no line. So because we're related to a person, they do whatever they want because I'm related to you. So like, live life. But then that also makes me think about when you see those people in the news and like their kids are accused of like murder, and they're like, my child could never, and it's like the evidence is stacked. My child would never, and then it comes to light that their child did. My child is so sorry. And I'm like, are you still like it? Like, where do we be like, hey, you family, but I kind of can't. You gotta stay over there. Like, I don't even, because I've seen incidents where people just like, I don't even want to, like, we not related. Like, I don't. I think I'm not. So where do you decide?
I think it also depends on how we look at family. So a lot of us, we're looking at family as a very multi-dimensional thing, not just intellect, but social compatibility and mental compatibility. We're looking at all of those things. A lot of the older generation, or even the ones who are still finding it hard to create that line, they look at family as an extension of themselves. So to admit someone else is wrong is to admit that there's something fundamentally wrong with yourself. Like either you failed at something or you are part of that behavior that's toxic. So a lot of people look at it as an extension. So to admit that is to admit this thing about, is to admit who I am. Like for example, with Asia's example, which is like she's not a bad mom. No one mentioned that, but that's where her brain went when you talk about critique. Brain went to bad mom. But it's like
I'm
so much else than that. And the same thing from my father. It's like for a long time I was like, to say this is to say he was a bad dad, and I had to learn. No, he was a great dad when I was a kid. We watched movies. He helped me create my Black identity. And he's a hypocritical heterosexual man. I had to be able to see him as both. Ma'am. Shut up. I had to be able to see him. I'm sorry, Dad. I had to be able to see him as both. In order for me to kind of take that next step.
Got my next clip for next week.
I hate you. Don't do that.
Oh my God, Lil Tank, you are like killing me. I appreciate you so much for the love. Thank you so much for the love.
Yeah. So sometimes it's a little bit that we see family as an extension of ourselves, so it's hard to take or watch criticism of that person, because then they take it as, oh, you criticizing me because I ain't do shit. And it's just like, no, we do.
Thanks.
That's your whole separate sibling. That's them.
Thanks.
Separate people. Like, I hate my stepmother, but I love my sisters who were born for her.
Like, complete 180.
But the two can happen. But a lot of people jump off the assumption that if I don't like her, I'm not going to like her kids, or I have some agenda when I'm hanging out with my sisters. And I'm just like, no, I see them as two separate entities entirely. Fair. She couldn't do the vice versa.
I'm closer to one twin sibling than I am to the other. And they are twin siblings, but I'm like, fucks with you heavily. You could call or text or not. Makes me no, never mind. You live your life. We don't really talk. I don't dislike you. You just call or not, live life. Appreciate you for hanging out with us, Lil Tank. Love you, man. I'll catch your stream when you go live. But that's just how it is. But again, the relationship has to be nurtured. One twin just happens to be nurturing the relationship where the other is not. But I will say that I have lines that cannot be crossed. And that's for any family member. For me, some of those lines that cannot be crossed, anything that causes any harm or detriment to my nieces, you're dead to me. You don't exist. Anything that causes detriment or harm to me intentionally, you're dead to me. That's why I don't speak to the one family member now. When she decided that I had paid enough of her back rent and she could afford her apartment now, she basically told me and Kuchiki, oh, y'all can go stay in the shelter now. I want my apartment back.
Oh, nah.
I know exactly who that is now. Like,
and then was like, oh, I don't know why she don't speak to me. Why would I speak to you? You basically was like, go be homeless.
You need to speak to these hands.
Like, thankfully, Kuchiki and I are like savvy enough to be able to like find our own apartment and like we good. But like, what if we weren't? You didn't give a damn. So, get that to me. put any of my family members in harm's way. My family members include Amina, Kuchiki, Zajax, anyone in my circle in harm's way on purpose, you're dead to me. Don't even look in my direction. I don't see you. Why are you waving at me? Who are you? Ajax says, see my I don't speak to you game at work. I don't play. I don't care who you are. Why are you even talking to me? You don't exist. I don't know the Muffin Man in your case.
I'm dead. I feel like the one piece of this we're not addressing is how hard it is to be that person when you're so used to being the one that makes everything okay all the time.
I think Amina is better at, because between her and I am quicker to be like, bye. I think Amina was always the one that was like, oh my God, no, I need to, I don't like when people don't like me. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck if you don't like me. Get mad.
And a lot of times it was difficult and I realized the difficulty didn't come from actually some elongated desire to continue the relationship, but because of my own conscience. Like, for example, with my dad, he's 75, diabetic, and we're in the middle of a pandemic. At any point, as much as I don't like to think about it, he could be done, you know? And I don't want the last memory I give him to be, fuck you, you hypocritical asshole. As much as I'm thinking it up here, I don't want it to be the last words out my mouth. And I realized a lot of what I let him get away with was less about me truly trying to make an excuse for him and more about me like, yo, I'm gonna feel like shit if he die later. And I told him last thing, fuck you and your mother. Like,
that's not in the mother. What grandma do?
I'm weak. So it's really fucked up shit, but I have to be like, okay, I'm gonna let you get away with this. But what that translated to in a toxic way was I let him get away with too much. And I realized I can critique you, respect it, and still. So now when I'm arguing with him, I'll be like, Dad, I love you. I want you to understand first and foremost, I love you, but fuck no. Because my conscience can deal with that.
Respectfully, fuck no.
I said I love you. So all the people who like tell the people you love them, I did that. And I told him about himself. I'm good to go to sleep. God happened, I can still go to sleep because I said I love you, but fuck no.
Why is she like
that? Was me finding the compromise.
I didn't get like that until recently.
And that's the crazy. You see, this is
it
why.
Your turn to side eye, Jax? Go ahead, Jax. Have your moment in the sun. Do all the eye rolls aside.
This is more why I'm like, that's still your mother. As much as I disagree a lot of what Zay's mom has done over the years, I've never forced it on her. I'm like, whenever you're ready, you're ready. But I've always been like, that's still your mom. Try. And then like, there was a point where I was like, okay, it's not acceptable anymore. I'm like, listen. Then I turned, it was completely night and day. I never have gray areas, and that's a bad problem that I have. Yeah. But I was like, well then fuck it. Cut them off. Let's change the number. We blocking everybody. I'm calling T-Mobile. Ain't nobody getting in contact with you. We're getting you another phone. Fuck that. She has 2 phones now. 2 phones. But I'm saying, like, it's like either I'm rocking with you or I'm completely not. I can't.
She don't have gray.
The gray area is really only very few people get this gray area. And that's still my mom, my brother, and my sister. Like everybody else, as soon as I get mad, I'm like, fuck them. Fuck them. I'll find new friends. Fuck them. And everything is fuck them. And Zay's like, no, let's think about it. I'm like, no, fuck that. So it's either I'm with you or I'm not.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have a question.
About the things she does, because again, I side-eye her from my stance of being the black sheep and she's the favorite, and she side-eyes me of being the black sheep, and I'm still willing to fall on my sword in certain situations. And she's like, fam, they don't even really like you. You know what I mean? Like, she does a lot of that, and I'm just like, yeah, but now where I'm at now, it's heavy fuck 'em energy. But
okay.
it took a long time. It's like you know, like you said, like it felt like me not doing it, me not helping, me allowing disrespect felt like I was doing what I was supposed to do at the time. You know, like this is what you do as a good daughter, as a good sister, as a good whatever. Like this is what you do. You just endure. But then, you know, Asia and a couple of my other homies, shout out to the gang, taught me that love is not how much you can take, how much pain you can take from another human being. So now that I know that, I'll just be like, I'm cool with that, fam, you know? So, but it's heavy side-eye energy from that, because that's something that I still like struggle with, at least when it comes to my biological connections. But
biological connections,
yeah, because they're not family, but biological connections, it comes from that.
I feel that distinction. Kuchiki, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna ask Ajax, because knowing that information, knowing that you can literally say, fuck that, I don't give a fuck, I'm cutting you off, is like, with your specific family, is it that you are, because at first it was like, oh, are you just like not willingly blind to it, but do you feel like you're willfully blind to it at this point? Like, you actively make the choice to say, you know what, that is, I know they've really done some fucked up shit, but it doesn't matter, I'm still gonna ride for them no matter what. That's where you're at with it?
Well,
specifically with your,
not with my, like they haven't done in particular for me to be on that level. But there was a family member. Even Zay was like, yo, you know you can't. And like in my mind, I still have you can't. And like I still have to think my grandma is gonna feel some type of way. Like my thing was,
y'all gotta mute so we can hear.
Y'all gotta mute so we can.
Go ahead.
Like for me, it was like I gotta, I guess, keep my family as together as possible. And it wasn't until my brother's graduation, when he graduated high school, and I was like, and then like I seen it for myself, and I was like, something's off. And I've always thought about this was the case, but I was like, no, maybe it's not. And then when Zay had a conversation, she was like, no, babe, it's exactly what you thought it was all these years. And I was like, oh, fuck that. But like at that point I was like, fuck it, I'm blowing the whistle. And I went off and I was like, nah, that's it. And so like there's a certain point, like Nirvana said, like if you do something that harms me intentionally or someone that I care about intentionally, then it's a dub. So like my mom didn't intentionally try to hurt my sister, but once she, like if she didn't like try to rectify it, I would be like, okay, I'm standing by my sister because that's my sister, but she's able to see what she's done. But the other family member, it's a dub. And then when I found out about that family member's close person, I was like, it was really hard for me to break away, but I still talk to that other person because I understand what happened to them too. So I was like, okay, I can work around that. But the one person, that person is a dub. Like I literally don't care what happens to that person. I'll be on some, if you ever seen Degrassi when Craig was at the funeral. Like real life, like
my boy Craig went off.
I would be Craig at the funeral, like the real life. Ooh, that's the only person in my family that I really would be like. Next,
Craig at the funeral.
Craig at the funeral.
That's my default move. Craig at the funeral.
Default Fortnite skin. Kuchiki, do you have any like, this is my line in the sand, you can't cross this line, I don't care who you are?
It's hard to explain it because I have such a, like with my blood family, I came out the womb and was given a Bible to hold. and also was walking around in my mom's heels by the time I was 3 years old. So like everybody's perception of me by the time I was like 5, 6, 7 was already formed. I was raised as the black sheep. And I think the level of avoidance that I took with my family by the time I was 13, that like the cutoff game was already strong. Like I might still show up to certain things, I might still interact with them, but emotionally there was no connection. And even as I was like coming up as a teenager, like that emotional connection or bond that I would have had with my mother, even though we still loved each other and she still loved me, I think by default I was the favorite. Because my older sister, like her relationship with my mother was 10 times worse than mine's at the same age. But that emotional bond was already disconnected, and I didn't really start to reconnect with my family to even decide like, hey, do I want y'all in my life, until like the last 5 years. And I'm talking like not really showing up to birthdays, not really showing up to family gatherings, like just completely cut off. I saw even outside of my own situation, I saw how toxic my family was. And I'm not saying that out of shame or anything. It's just, it is what it is. Like my family, a lot of people got hit hard in the 80s, growing up in the projects. And my family didn't escape that without trauma. And there was some real trauma even before that. So like, I was lucky enough to, in my own way, like remove myself mentally from a lot of the shit that if I had stayed and had that bond formed, like I don't know what I would honestly be like right now. But to answer your question, at least with my family, like it's hard to imagine getting to a point where I wouldn't ever speak to them, because I already cut them off so long ago that it's kind of like it's almost like what Ajax was saying, like we don't take anything serious. Well, with my family, I've put up enough of a wall that like if somebody tries to like stab me or something like that, I can't. The dagger is not gonna insert itself. I don't take the attack serious enough, and I'm comfortable with that because I've had that wall built for so long. I'm bringing it down for certain people, but it is very much like you have to prove to me that you're not toxic, but that you have contained whatever toxicity you have going on, and that you have the emotional intelligence to actually be in my life. And that's not me saying that like I'm perfect, because I'm far from that. I'm the type of person that thrives on chaos when I'm at my worst. That's my toxic trait.
Scarlet Witch, I hear you.
So there have literally been times where it's like, if I have had interactions with my family or at a certain thing, and things have gotten out of hand, you can't. There is no mediator. There is no person to say, hey, wait a minute, maybe we shouldn't do this, because I'm ready to match your toxicity with mine. I come from the same fucked up love.
I'm my daddy's daughter, bitch.
I will literally give that to you. And I make no qualms about the fact that like Craig from Degrassi, I'm bipolar as fuck. So I will show up and show out. And I'm very picky and choosy with the situations now, because it's like I know that's not my whole character, and I don't want to lean into that chaos all the time. So I think outside of, because I can't say like if Abbott's committed murder, like I'm gonna cut them off, because I can't go into it, but like that situation is possibly there. You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly.
Y'all know what I'm saying.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
But you do actually bring up something that I think could be a thread later on if we revisit the conversation, which is like, what toxic traits do we each have that kind of either existed or we were trying to avoid, so we had to deal with these certain family situations the way that we did. Like he brought up, I'm gonna be petty and I'm gonna match your shit with my shit. We could go toe for toe and burn it.
Y'all, I'm perfect. I ain't got no toxic trait.
My toxic trait is I always have to know what your thoughts were. Even when it's like a mic drop moment, leave it alone, dead conversation, you said what you had to say. I still need to know, well, what did you think about what I said? Which keeps the conversation going, you know? So there's, you know, so it's kind of like, we've talked about all the toxic things that were done to us, but what's an interesting thing to maybe look at a later date is what maybe toxic traits did we in the situation, you know, when we were doing these things, you know, because it's not really black and white for either side.
I will add to this, like my younger nephew in the last like year or so has like, because he's somebody that's like, I will always fuck with him, like, you know, he's smarter than me, and his emotional intelligence is like, I'm so fucking happy that you crossed that shit, because like the stuff that he had.
I think we talk about.
No, it's us, the youngest nephew. The other one, I don't know. But he has literally texted me and confronted me and been like, "Yo, when we were this age, you showed me this, and this. This had this effect on me." And I've had to be like, oh shit, I have traumatized you in certain ways. I've been the toxic parent that I dislike. So because I've had to accept that about myself, and the fact that like my toxic ways may have had a negative effect on the younger folks coming up with me, I'm like, I can try to at least make space and see if the family members that are at least willing to put in the work or at least own up to their bullshit, like I can work with those people. The ones that can't and are just lost in the sauce, like it is what it is.
You know? Yeah.
Woo!
Oh no, I was saying my toxic trait is I'm hitting below the belt at all points. Like it's bad, and it could be yo, it's so bad. Like
somebody be like, you're sure ugly. That's why your mother don't love you. Like, wow, like
no, but really,
take it easy.
Like it's crazy because like me and my sister, like it's crazy because like me and my sister are like, my sister's the physical one and I'm the verbal one. So like she's ready to pop, ready to fight. She don't got time to talk. Me, it's like, all right, that's what you want to say. This is what I'm gonna say, and it's either depending on who it is. Like my mom will be very passive aggressive, but she'll know that I'm mad as fuck. But everybody else, it's like that's it. It's take off. I'm not coming back down until I go outside, get some fresh air. I had to walk for like an hour. Like it's really bad. So that's why like I try to stay. Like once I get really, really quiet, do not ask any other questions. Don't go further, because then after that, that's it. It's lights out. It's lights out.
Terrible temper. Terrible. For me,
Y'all know we were supposed to save this for the follow-up episode, right?
Oh,
but go ahead, Zay.
I thought that was
we'll elaborate. Go ahead, give us a tidbit. Go ahead, Zay. Give us a taste.
You know, I'm a little unwell. You know, I'm got a little razzle for my dazzle. You know, diagnosed bipolar and all that, so my fuse a little lit. But
that'll be next episode.
You know, that's it. That's what I'm gonna say about that.
Like Dre said, on the next episode. Cue music. All right, y'all. Thank you for catching today's episode, our 4th. We've been rocking with y'all for like a month now, yeah? How you feel? First month in, yeah. Catch us next week as it looks like that's it. we delve into our toxic traits. I don't have none, so it's gonna be these bitches talking about their toxic. I'm perfect. I don't do shit wrong.
That is your toxic trait.
If you wanna join in on the conversation, hit us up in the Discord chat. Let me exclamation Discord. It's in there. Join the server. Fucking hate Ajax. Why is she like this? If you want to join in the conversation, join the Discord. This episode has been brought to you by MixieLix and Trouble Studios. MixieLix, get you lit. That's why they drunk as fuck over there. Our audio's all fucked up. We gotta take our computers to Trouble Studios to get better fucking graphics cards and shit. We need help. Speaking of, I got an appointment at Trouble Studios right now because I gotta get this fucking this shit installed, this fucking terabyte shit in my computer. So let me call Trouble Studios real quick. We gonna do a raid, y'all. Don't get away, Ajax. Let me call Trouble Studios. Let me get them on the line. 8 o'clock. They still open. They still taking receipts. Let's do this raid, y'all. And we out. Bum, bum, bum,